UFC 283 is here, and I'm going to be breaking down the whole entire card from start to finish, from early prelim to the main event. And yeah, so UFC did give us an alright card here. There are quite a bit of prospects on here, especially from the Contender Series. A couple people pulled out, so they had to throw some guys in there. The whole card is stacked with a bunch of Brazil fighters, so good on them. It is in Brazil. So the top of the card, like 3 fights down, is all really good fights and super interesting fights. So let's get right into it. I did make a couple early breakdowns for the top 3 fights that I'll probably discuss a little bit more when we get there. If you do want to join the Tapology group that I have down below, there will be a link to that. You can create an account and join it. You can keep track of your record for all the cards that we do this year. I'm going to be doing it on there and on like an Excel spreadsheet just to even it out and get it for a yearly basis and everything like that. Stuff that you don't even really care about or need to know. Yeah, I'll be posting stuff in there. If we get enough people in there, I believe there's 7 people. I can admit you during the week. I'll be checking it throughout the week also. Yeah, so let's actually get right into the the actual card now. I think I did enough of an intro here. So first of all, I'm probably going to be switching through tabs real quick. So if I'm a little slow or whatever, that'll be why, because my other monitor is just not working right now. So I had to film this today. So on the first fight of the entire card, we have Daniel Marcos versus Saimon Oliveira. Marcos 13-0, 29 years of age and 68 inches of reach. Oliveira 18-4, 31 years of age and 66 inches of reach. Marcos will have a 2-inch reach advantage in this matchup. For this fight, I think it is very close. A lot of these fights on the prelims are super close. On the main card, I'm like, okay, I can figure this one. I don't need to do too much research on it, even though I do still do research on it. But these ones I have to do quite a bit on it because these ones are really close. Like especially for this card, I feel like my picks could go either way. Like I could do really well, really bad, or probably in the middle a little bit. So for this fight's super close. For Daniel Marcos, he was on the Contender Series. It's 13-0. I believe I did pick against him because he didn't fight for 3 years, but he did win his fight against Brandon Lewis by unanimous decision. Probably could have finished him a couple times through that fight. For Saimon Oliveira, his last fight was against Tony Gravely, which isn't a bad loss necessarily, in retrospect at least. But for Saimon Oliveira, actually, I'll do both of them, I guess. Saimon Oliveira, for his stand-up's not really good. I would probably edge it to Daniel Marcos in the stand-up here. I think Saimon kind of just throws stuff. He'll do like a spinning back fist and a jumping knee and things like that. It's pretty wild, pretty quick, likes to walk you down. Kind of like the other Oliveira, if I can even make a comparison there, just like a way lesser version of that. But Daniel Marcos, it seems like it's like a Saimon Oliveira, but he throws things with a purpose. Like a lot of the shots that he's landing in the Contender Series against Brandon Lewis, if that is his name. Yeah, Brandon Lewis. He was landing them pretty well. You can tell that he thought about them before he threw it. So he was hurting Brandon Lewis quite a bit. I believe he hurt him with the front kick at the beginning of the fight and then landed a good jumping knee against the fence. So when he does make those shots, he does it for a purpose. He sees the opening. He takes it. He's really a polished fighter on the feet. Brandon Lewis was basically trying to take him down the whole fight. I think he took him down once. But Saimon Oliveira can get people down. He does have really good jiu-jitsu. Does have a good guillotine. He was trying to find it the whole entire time against Tony Gravely. Basically, he'll jump it quite a bit, which is why I'm a little hesitant to make this fight. So yeah, I think I am gonna go with. Yeah, I am gonna go with Daniel Marcos in this one because I think he's gonna be able to be super solid on feet. I don't think he's gonna be able to get taken down. I think, or at least if he does, I think he'll put up a fight with it at least. And I think he'll be really solid on the feet. Maybe finish Saimon Oliveira, but I think it will probably go to a decision. So I'm going to go Daniel Marcos by a decision, probably 29-28 maybe 30-27, but most likely 29-28. There'll probably be some spots where Saimon Oliveira gets the best of them in this one. So let's move on. Up the card, we have Luan Lacerda versus Cody Stamann. Lacerda, 12-1, 30 years of age and 73 inches of reach. Stamann, 20-5, 33 years of age and 64.5 inches of reach. So Lacerda, with some hard math here, odd math. Let's see. Let's go. I'm gonna say not 8.5 inches of reach advantage in this one. Oh boy, I probably should have thought about this one earlier. Yeah, 8.5 inches. Okay, I can do simple math. Wow. This one's super close too. In all honesty, Lacerda does have a win over Haliampeva, who is now no longer in the UFC, but Haliampeva did have some solid wins when he was here in the UFC. But yeah, this is a super extremely close matchup. I actually want to take, like, I don't mind taking Lacerda in this matchup, is how close I am to taking it. In all honesty, Cody Stamann coming off a win against Eddie Wineland, which was pretty much a gimme matchup from the UFC. He did lose on his 3-fight losing streak that he had to Said Nurmagomedov and Marav Dvalishvili, who is ranked 3, and Said, I believe, is in the top 15. I may be incorrect there, but I think he is in the top 15, or at least like on the edge of it. So 2 really good fighters, a top 3 fighter. So there's not much to go against him there, but he did lose to Jimmy Rivera. But Luan Lacerda coming off his last fight against Marceli Alves 8 months ago in LFA. I do think I am going to pick Cody Stamann in this fight, and I'll tell you why. Cody Stamann, I think he needs to keep this on the feet. I am a little worried if he does go for a takedown here, because Luan Lacerda does have some really good jiu-jitsu. He chokes out a lot of his guys there. But if he does keep on the feet, Luan Lacerda is just not good on the feet. I'm just going to be honest. He's not as fast as Cody Stamann. Like, Cody Stamann's pretty fast, pretty explosive. Lacerda is just slow on the feet. Doesn't throw much other than like a left hand, maybe a body shot, maybe his right hand. Like, he literally does, his stand-up is not developed at all. So I am going to go Cody Stamann for that reason. Lacerda did get hurt at a point in his fight against Marceli Alves, so that's why I'll probably take Stamann here, maybe to finish him in the first round, just kind of explode there and finish him like he did against Wineland. But if Cody Stamann does take this to the ground, I am going to be worried about my pick, in all honesty. So I am going to go with I'm going to go with Cody Stamann in this matchup, finishing him in the first round. But this one honestly could go the other way, and I'm going to be very nervous about this fight when it happens. So let's move on up the card. Up the card, we have Josiane Nunes versus Zarah Fairn. Josiane Nunes is 9-1, 29 years of age and 67 inches of reach. Fairn 6-4, 36 years of age and 73 inches of reach. Fairn will have a 6-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I am going to go with Josiane Nunes in this one. Fairn, I believe, hasn't fought in like almost 3 years. I'm not sure why she came back, in all honesty. Maybe she had a change in mind or whatever. But she is 36 years old now, so she's a lot older. 3 years ago, she was 34, I guess. Well, I rounded up a little bit. So 2 years and 9 months ago was her last fight against Felicia Spencer, and then lost to Megan Anderson. So yeah, Josiane Nunes coming off a win against Ramona Pascal. I'm going to choose her here. Seems like a pretty relatively easy pick, and especially it's lower level women's MMA. So Josiane Nunes probably finishes Zarah Fairn in this matchup. So let's move on. Up the card, we have Warlley Alves versus Nicholas Dalby. Alves 14-5, 32 years of age and 72 inches of reach. Dalby 24-1, 38 years of age and 74.5 inches of reach. I'm actually surprised. I completely forgot he was 38 years old. But we'll have a 2.5-inch reach advantage over Warlley Alves in this matchup. Of course, Warlley Alves' highlight win was against Colby Covington, but since then, lost to James Krause 4 years ago, Sergio Moraes 3 years ago, Randy Brown, win over Sergio Moraes, lost to Randy Brown, won against Monir Aziz by body shots, and then lost to Jeremiah Wells, where he just got absolutely obliterated a year and a half ago. So he's been off for quite a bit. Nicholas Dalby last fought 4 months ago against Claudio Silva and won that fight. So I am going to go with Nicholas Dalby in this one. I am a little unsure about this one. I think this one could go the other way. Especially how I said earlier, I think a lot of this early part of this card could go the other way. So I'm going to go with Dalby. I think he's looked a little bit... Generally, he's not a very impressive dude, in all honesty. I'm just going to be completely honest there. But he did have a good win against Daniel Rodrigues. He hurt him early in that fight, and if you can outbox Daniel Rodrigues, I think you could probably do solid against Warlley Alves. Maybe he gets a finish against Warlley Alves, but this could definitely go to a decision, probably 29-28. But yes, that's what I'm going to lean to. He did lose to Tim Means, but a win over D-Rod is enough for me to pick him. A win over Alex Oliveira, split with Jesse Ronson. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Nicholas Dalby. I don't. No, that's how I'm edging it this one. So Nicholas Dalby by 29-28 decision. I think this one will definitely be a little bit close. Warlley Alves will definitely win a round. Up the card, we have Terrance McKinney versus Ismael Bonfim. McKinney 13-4, 28 years of age and 73.5 inches of reach. Bonfim 18-3, 27 years of age and 71.5 inches of reach. McKinney will have a 2-inch reach advantage in this one. I am going to go with McKinney, but I'm going to tell you this. Bonfim has a serious chance of winning this fight. I'm only choosing McKinney because I've seen more of him. I think he might be able to finish this earlier. I think there's probably some openings that he can take advantage of against Ismael Bonfim. The Bonfim brothers are duos on this card, and I think UFC is more looking at Ismael Bonfim's brother, Gabriel Bonfim. I think that's the guy they're really looking at. Super talented, but also both of them are super talented. Both of them are really skilled, especially for their age. 27 years of age for Ismael Bonfim, but he is still very skilled. But I think there are a little bit openings that a super explosive, fast guy like Terrance McKinney at the beginning of the fight can take advantage of. Maybe on the ground, he won't have too much of an advantage because, again, the Bonfim brothers are very skilled. But I am going to go Terrance McKinney. I think he might be able to finish this within the first couple minutes of the round, or maybe the first round. If he doesn't, maybe early second. I don't know. I feel like this fight in general, I think the UFC is looking at this fight and saying, okay, whoever wins this fight, we might push a little bit. If it's Ismael Bonfim, I'm not sure if they will necessarily push him a little bit. But again, Ismael Bonfim fought, I believe, his only 2 losses. Let's click here real quick. I want to do a little search. We're against Renato Moicano and Adriano Moraes, the former, I want to say flyweight champion. I guess it's like bantamweight flyweight because of the weight cutting thing, but at one championship that he just lost to Demetrius Johnson. He also beat Demetrius Johnson. It's crazy that he was that lightweight too, but those were 2 of his 3 losses, so not bad losses to have at all. But I am going to go Terrance McKinney. I think he's explosive and fast enough. I think I'd be going out on a limb to take Bonfim here, but I can definitely see McKinney kind of like start gassing out throughout this fight, and then Bonfim just taking advantage, maybe hurting McKinney and then finishing him there. So if McKinney can't finish this in the first round, I would start pushing more towards Bonfim to win this fight. Maybe live betting is the way to go with this one. If McKinney has a really good round, I think I'd probably, for me at least, I think I might put a little bit of money on Bonfim after the first round to take advantage of that. So yeah, I'm going to go with Terrance McKinney. I think he's a little bit more experienced. The win over Matt Frivola is looking a lot better now, especially over Ottoman Zaitar, who's a good fighter too. But again, I'm just going Terrance McKinney here. I don't know if I explained, but oh yeah, I did explain that. UFC's, I feel like this is the test for Terrance McKinney. If he loses this, I think the push is done for him. I think they're going to start building up another guy instead of Terrance McKinney. So I'm going to go Terrance McKinney. I think he's fast enough and explosive enough at the beginning to take advantage of maybe Bonfim being a little nervous on his debut or something like that. So yeah, Terrance McKinney by a finish in the first round. Up the card, we have Jailton Almeida versus Shamil Abdurakhimov. Almeida 17-2, 31 years of age and 79 inches of reach. Abdurakhimov 20-7, 41 years of age, 76 inches of reach. Almeida will have a 3-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I am going to go with Almeida. This fight was supposed to be made a couple times, and Shamil ended up backing out. Jailton Almeida is just an absolute freak that probably was engineered from a different country in a lab. Outside of his likely steroid usage, this dude's an absolute monster, and I think he's probably just going to destroy Shamil Abdurakhimov like he does to everybody else. So like he did to Anton Turkalj and Parker Porter. So yeah, Shamil Abdurakhimov lost to Curtis Blades, Chris Daukaus, and Sergey Pavlovich. If you're losing to Chris Daukaus, you're going to lose to Jailton Almeida. Let's move on up the card. Up the card, we have Gabriel Bonfim versus Munir Lazez. Bonfim 13-0, 25 years of age, 72.5 inches of reach. Lazez 11-2, 35 years of age and 76 inches of reach. Lazez will have a 3.5 inch reach advantage in this matchup. I am going to go with Gabriel Bonfim in this one, and I'll tell you why. I think in his last fight, not that I think, but I know in his last fight, Trey Waters, I believe he's a little bit taller than Munir Lazez and has a longer reach than Munir Lazez, I think about an inch. So Bonfim is already kind of prepared for a longer fighter. Even though Trey Waters did come in on late notice, he was able to feel out a guy with a big reach advantage over him. Again, the Bonfim brothers, especially Gabriel Bonfim, is the guy that the UFC is really looking at. They really want to put this guy in there. He's 25 years of age and is super skilled. So they're putting him against Munir Lazez just to get him a win, or what they think will get him a win. I'm not guaranteeing anything. But I am going to go with Gabriel Bonfim in this fight. Super skilled. For Munir Lazez, I don't think he moves enough to where it's going to cause Gabriel Bonfim some trouble. Like, my point is Munir Lazez kind of just keeps his head on the center line. He doesn't really move his head much. He does use his length a little bit, but I think Bonfim's going to be able to use his jab and set him up quite a bit. Maybe mix in some grappling a little bit, but I think he's going to be able to set up Munir Lazez for most of the match. And I think he might be able to get a finish here. Bonfim is very impressive, but he could also skate out with like a maybe a 29-28, but I can definitely see a 30-27 in this matchup. Gabriel Bonfim is a very good, I'm not going to say very good, but he's a good prospect because I don't think I've seen enough of him really against UFC talent. But he's a good prospect, and the UFC really want him to do good. 25 years of age, super skilled. Again, I think he's just going to be able to take advantage of Lazez's abilities in the striking and not move his head much. So I'm going to go Bonfim by 30-27 in this matchup. Let's move on. Up the card, we have Thaigo Moises versus Melchizedek. I'm going to say Costa. Moises 16-6, 27 years of age, 70.5 inches of reach. Costa 19-5, 26 years of age, and 73 inches of reach. Costa will have a 2.5 inch reach advantage in this matchup. I'm going to choose Moises. He is prepared for this matchup. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Costa came in here late, unless they set up this match late. I think he is a late replacement for this one. But Costa is a decent fighter and a decent prospect, but I just think against a guy like Moises, I think he'll struggle a little bit. Costa definitely pushes forward, but I just think Moises will just be more skilled than him. I think he's going to be able to use his grappling pretty well against Costa. Costa is really good defensively on the grappling, so this may prolong like the bout. It might go to a decision, but I'm going to go with Moises. I think he's fought some better competition. Again, he fought Islam Makhachev pretty well recently than a lot of guys, so looks very good on Moises. In that way, he did beat Christos Giagos in his last fight, lost to Joe Alves, and then lost to Islam Makhachev in like the 4th round rear naked choke, which looks good because Islam is the champ now. Yes, I think he's going to be able to land a couple good strikes on Costa. Costa's going to have his moments in here. But yeah, I kind of like Costa. The way he fought in his last fight against on LFA against Junior Mello. Is that how you say that? He looked pretty impressive. I don't know exactly what his condition, like the issue is with his condition, but I'll be rooting for him. He's actually pretty skilled. I hope he makes it relatively far. He's only 26 years old too. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Thaigo Moises in this one. Up the card, we have Gregory Rodrigues versus Bruno Ferreira. Rodrigues 13-4, 30 years of age and 75 inches of reach. Ferreira 9-0 and 30 years of age. I'm going to go with Gregory Rodrigues. Bruno Ferreira is coming in on short notice. He was headlining the Contender Series, which I am surprised they're putting him in here on short notice. Maybe they think he can do something on like a Brazil card. He is going to make his UFC debut in Brazil, so good for him, I guess, but not against a guy like Gregory Rodrigues, who has titanic power in his hands, and I think he'll probably finish Bruno Ferreira here. Bruno Ferreira does have some good power in his hands also, but I just think Gregory Rodrigues is just a monster. He beat Chidi and Jokwani, which I think I chose to beat Gregory Rodrigues, which he did have his moments against them, but I think Gregory Rodrigues was able to pull it out there. So I think he'll do the same here. Tough luck for Bruno Ferreira in this debut matchup for him. So up the card, we have Mauricio Shogun Hua versus Ihor Potieria. For Shogun, he's 27-13, 41 years of age, 76 inches of reach. Potieria, 18-3, 26 years of age, and 75 inches of reach. Shogun will have an extra inch in the reach advantage department. I am going to go with Ihor Potieria. I was actually he did lose his last fight, but I was kind of impressed with his last fight a little bit. It was against Nikolai Ngumiranu. I did choose him to win, which was a horrible idea in retrospect. But he did put up a decent fight there. He does have some solid stand-up. He's actually super tough, which is why I'm going to choose him here. Super tough. He definitely showed his toughness in the last fight. I think at a point, Nikolai Ngumiranu knocked his mouthpiece out, and he was just taking knees to the face, and he's just tanking it at that point. So it showed his toughness. He's still fighting back without a mouthpiece, and he's still getting kneed in the mouth. So very impressive performance, I would say, at least for a loss. Showed he's actually a decent fighter against Nikolai Ngumiranu. But Shogun lost to Paul Craig by KO. I think we'll probably see Ihor Potieria probably KO Mauricio. Shogun in this bout, if not let it go to a decision. He lost to OSP by split decision too. I don't even remember that much of that fight, honestly. I can't believe they put that one on the main card. But yeah, let's move on. Ihor Potieria by a finish or a decision. Up the card, we have Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. Paul Craig, 16-5, 35 years of age, 76 inches of reach. Walker, 19-7, 30 years of age and 82 inches of reach. Walker will have about a 6-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I am going to go with Johnny Walker. I haven't been too impressed with Paul Craig recently, at least in his last fight. It showed it quite a bit against Volkan Ozdemir, where he did lose. I think he got hurt quite a bit, but Paul Craig, his strategy is just not working anymore, it seems like. He basically just does whatever he can to get people in his guard. Like even if he can't get the takedown, he'll just try to grab you and pull his like a guard pull. Just standing up. It's just a whole mess. It's just looking like I can't even remember his name, but Ryan Hall just rolling around, but you have a guy that's just trying to grab him into his guard and pull him right in, just like he did in all his wins though. But Volkan Ozdemir was a little smarter than, I guess, Nikita Krylov, Jamal Hill, Shogun, and all those guys. So freaking Ankalaev too. But if Johnny Walker can stay away from the ground game, I think he's going to be able to win this fight for sure. He did come off a win against Ian Cutelaba, which a lot of people are doing now. I chose Ian Cutelaba to win that fight, but he's just so hot and cold at that point. Johnny Walker's chin is not really there, but I don't think that's too much of a threat from Paul Craig. So I am going to ride with Johnny Walker in this one. I think he's going to be able to outstrike Paul Craig on the feet, maybe knock him out also. So I'm going to say Johnny Walker by a finish in this one. I don't think it would be smart to take him down and go into that guard, but we'll see how that goes, because a lot of guys were not smart enough to think that. So Johnny Walker by finish in this one. Up the card, we have Jessica Andrade versus Lauren Murphy. Andrade, 23-9, 31 years of age and 62 inches of reach. Murphy, 16-5, 39 years of age and 68 inches of reach. Murphy will have a surprisingly 6 inches of reach advantage on Jessica Andrade. This one, I think I'm going to go with Jessica Andrade. Lauren Murphy did look impressive in her last fight against Miesha Tate. I actually thought Miesha Tate was going to win that, but Lauren Murphy did look very impressive there. Did lose to the champion. After that, didn't have much to offer there. Did beat Joanne Wood by split decision before then. Jessica Andrade moving, I believe, back down after she, was it after she beat Amanda Lemos? Yeah. So she lost to Valentina, and then, let's see, so she lost to Rose Namajunas in the second fight. Beat Kaylin Chukagian, lost to Valentina, beat Cynthia Calvillo, which is a weird fight. and then beat Amanda Lemos. So that win over Amanda Lemos is looking actually pretty good right now. Amanda Lemos just beat Marina Rodrigues. So Jessica Andrade is looking really good right now, at least in her wins and in her fights, submitting, especially Amanda Lemos very quickly. And the first ever standing arm triangle choke was very impressive too. So I'm going to go with Jessica Andrade against Lauren Murphy. I think Lauren Murphy will be able to tank some of Jessica Andrade's shots. She does have a good chin. We saw that against Valentina and everything like that. I guess I actually don't remember much of that fight. But I'm going to go Jessica Andrade. Maybe she gets the finish here, but I think Lauren Murphy will probably be able to tough it out. So, or maybe a submission win for Jessica Andrade here. So maybe a finish, maybe a decision. I'm not too sure, not too sure at all on women's MMA fights. So I'm going to go with Jessica Andrade, likely, I would say 50-50 finish or decision here. So let's move on. Up the card, we got Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny. Burns, 20-5, 36 years of age and 71 inches of reach. Magny, 27-9, 35 years of age and 80 inches of reach. Magny will have a 9-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I believe I did do a prediction or a breakdown of this fight. If you want to check that out, it'll be a little bit more in depth, but I'll just sum it up for you guys right here. I am going to go with Gilbert Burns, but let me just say this. I do not feel good about it. Part of me wants to take Magny, but I don't think I can because Neil Magny is just so inconsistent. But I think if Neil Magny comes in here and his fights not thinking he's going to lose like he did against Shavkat, which was absolutely annoying to watch. It didn't even look like he tried. Fights like he did against Jeff Neal, maybe even D-Rod. He can beat Gilbert Burns for sure. 9 inches of reach, and he throws quite a bit of straight punches against a guy like Gilbert Burns at a camp like Killcliff where they don't really move too much. I think it could be a really big problem for Gilbert Burns in this matchup if you can't land some of those power shots and finish off Magny, maybe even on the ground. But even Gilbert Burns' offensive wrestling isn't too great, and I think a lanky guy like Neil Magny might not be the easiest guy to take down. So I am going to go with Gilbert Burns. I think he's going to be able to get a decision here just based on the more powerful shots that he can throw, but I would not be surprised if Neil Magny wins this fight, weirdly enough, especially after Gilbert Burns' last fight against Khamzat Chimaev. He took a lot of damage. That was 7 months ago, so he has recovered quite a bit, but again, at 36 years of age, even halfway, I guess, 36 and a half years of age, a war like that maybe take a toll on your chin or something like that. I don't know. But if Neil Magny shows up for this fight, I would not be surprised if he does win. So I'm going to go Gilbert Burns, but I am keeping my eye on Magny, especially at plus 320. I don't know if the odds have changed. Actually, let me check. I think I have odds coming up, but I don't want to take too big of a pause in the video to look this up. Okay, so yeah, plus 300 right now on Bovada for Neil Magny in this one. So I might put a little bit of money on Neil Magny. Because he's just so inconsistent. He could win this fight if he shows up. But again, Gilbert Burns is good for sure. But I am a little worried about picking him here. So I'm going to go Gilbert Burns by I can see him finishing Magny, but I can also see him taking him to a decision. So I'm not too confident to see or even to know how this one finishes. So I am going to go with Gilbert Burns, though. I think even if it goes to a decision, I think he'll land the more powerful shots and have better positions, whether it's on the ground or standing up. So I'm going Gilbert Burns. Up the card, we have Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. Figueiredo, 21-2, 35 years of age, 68 inches of reach. Moreno, 20-6, 29 years of age and 70 inches of reach. Moreno will have a 2-inch reach advantage in this matchup. And if you have not seen my breakdown on this fight, I have chosen Brandon Moreno for this one. It is a little tricky, though. So for Deiveson Figueiredo, his last fight was against Brandon Moreno about a year ago. And I believe he did get injured, so he's been recovering from an injury while Brandon Moreno has fought Kai Car-France 5 months ago to win the interim belt. But yeah, these guys have fought, three times in a row, all with different endings. So I am going to go with Brandon Moreno. I think he's going to be the healthier guy, even though he's not currently at a gym, or at least like staying at a gym, because Glory MMA shut down because of James Krause, the gym, and all that drama stuff. But Deiveson Figueiredo probably not staying at flyweight anymore after this fight. 35 years old, going to be cutting a lot of weight. I'm just going to be a little bit more confident in Brandon Moreno at this point. At 29 years of age, not coming off an injury, not being 35 years old, and not making a big weight cut, and not thinking already going down there that this is probably my last time at flyweight. I can just see Brandon Moreno winning this fight, probably by decision. I think the last fight that they had was more on Deiveson Figueiredo landing those big shots, and I think outside of those, like a couple big shots and maybe one or two of the rounds, you could easily argue Brandon Moreno, because I did think Deiveson Figueiredo won the fight, but I do think it was pretty neck and neck outside of like a shot. And I want to say, I can't remember what round. I want to say it was like the 4th or 5th round that really swung it for Deiveson Figueiredo. So I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno. I don't think it's going to be like a one-sided beating, but I can see maybe Brandon Moreno finishes it, maybe he drops him and then jumps on it, but I do think Brandon Moreno does drop him. I don't know if I want to say drops him or hurts him really badly at least once. So I'm going to go Brandon Moreno by a decision in this one, 3-2, maybe honest chance 4-1, but I'm going to go 3-2 Moreno for this fight. Maybe he does find a finish, but Deiveson Figueiredo worked on his wrestling pretty well with Henry Cejudo, so I'm not confident that Brandon Moreno will get any kind of finish, but I can definitely see it for this fight. So yeah, let's move on. Up the card for our main event of the evening, we have Glover Teixeira versus Jamahal Hill for the vacant light heavyweight title. Glover Teixeira 33-8, 43 years of age and 76 inches of reach. Jamahal Hill 11-1, 31 years of age and 79 inches of reach. Jamahal Hill will have a 3-inch reach advantage in this matchup. Glover Teixeira coming off the loss to Yuri Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka injuring a shoulder vacated the title. Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz. That fight ended in a draw, so they made this fight immediately after that matchup for this card. Surprisingly to quite a bit of people, Glover Teixeira did luck out during that fight. That it did end in a draw because it was not looking good for him for that next matchup. But I guess he got the side of luck there. So Jamahal Hill coming off a win against Thiago Santos 3 months ago against a guy that's not even in the UFC anymore. Solid win there. He definitely got tested over the few rounds that he did fight there. A pretty highlight reel KO against Johnny Walker. And then a win against Jimmy Crute. Glover Teixeira win over Jan Blachowicz, Thiago Santos, and Anthony Smith. For this one, I am going to go with Glover Teixeira. I did do a breakdown on this fight also. I did that. Like I said, I did breakdowns for the top 3 fights in this one. If you want to look for a more in-depth breakdown with my analysis in there, you can go look at that. I believe they're like the most recent 3 videos I made within like the last week, so you can probably find those pretty quickly. But I am going to go with Glover Teixeira. I think Jamahal Hill, especially like in general, he's not I do like Jamahal Hill, but he's definitely not like the most what's the word? Like he's not muscled out, if you'd say. Like his physique is not something crazy that you'll see like a Yuri Prochazka or even like a Glover Teixeira. Like for Jamahal Hill, his conditioning is already kind of iffy. But when they made the call, you can see like I don't know if he was like joking around and like sticking out his belly even more, but his belly looked relatively big. I don't know what his conditioning is going to be like, especially on short notice for this matchup. So I am going to go with Glover Teixeira. I think Jamahal Hill definitely has a good chance of winning this fight. Even after the Yuri fight that Glover Teixeira had 7 months ago, he took a lot of damage there. Jamahal Hill could definitely punch him and KO him in that way. But I think Glover Teixeira is going to get hurt. I think this one probably ends in the first round, in all honesty. If not, they kind of like, I don't want to say spar, but they're going back and forth in the first round. In the second round, Jamahal Hill hurts Glover Teixeira a little bit. Glover Teixeira shoots for a takedown and then takes him down, and then Jamahal Hill tries to get up and he pops into a rear naked choke is how I see it going. But Jamahal Hill could definitely win this fight, and we get Yuri Prochazka versus Jamahal Hill, which would be even more fun. So I am going to go Glover Teixeira. Jamahal Hill definitely has a chance in winning this fight for sure, but I'm just confident in Glover Teixeira's jiu-jitsu game. even though Jamahal Hill definitely did decent against the takedowns in his last fight against Thiago Santos, I'm still going to go with Gilbert Teixeira here. I think his cardio and his conditioning is a little bit better. He's been prepared for 5 rounds for a while now. Jamahal Hill basically coming off the couch to make this fight within 4 weeks, if not even a little less. I'm not going to pull up the date of the card. I don't even. Oh, it's right here, 21 days. And so it's like less than a month's notice for this fight, basically, is what it is. Or at least a little bit more of a month than more than a month for this fight. So I guess you got that, but again, it's not even enough conditioning that Jamahal Hill was even ready for. He was ready for like March or April against Anthony Smith or something like that. I don't even remember the date of that card. But yeah, I'm gonna go Gilbert Teixeira by submission here. Jamahal Hill probably puts up a fight early on, but I think he starts to gas out a little bit. I think he'll hurt Gilbert Teixeira and he'll start like getting excited or something like that, and his conditioning will start to wear out, and then you'll see Gilbert Teixeira shoot in for a takedown and then submit Jamahal Hill by rear naked choke. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tapology link down below if you want to make your picks for this fight. Easy way to create an account and track all your progress for it, especially this year with the fights. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below who you think wins this fight, and I'll see you guys